So for listeners who are a little bit across Stoic philosophy, this won't be any new news to them, but a lot of the principles that we enact through psychology, through cognitive behavioral therapy, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, all of those activities and approaches that are currently quite popular are actually grounded in philosophies, and in a lot of cases in Stoic philosophy. So that's what really resonated with me with Stoic philosophy, was that a lot of what we're learning now, if we go back to the philosophical practices, it brings us right back to the basics of these principles and how we can apply them in our everyday lives. So they're incredibly useful, whether it's in our personal lives or in our professional lives. So it's still very early days with regard to my research. I've only just launched the survey and will undertake interviews with people shortly. But essentially what I'm interested in is learning about the experiences that people are having. So very, very early days. There's a long way to go here still. But I'm certainly seeing through the survey that people are using the principles of Stoic philosophy in their workplaces. And in particular, they're using them in scenarios that, as you say, range in a number of different areas within their workplaces. From conflict management to changing jobs, to job satisfaction, to decision making, all sort of change, major changes are happening all around the world at the moment. So people are finding these principles really useful in those areas. And interestingly as well, one of the most common uses of Stoic philosophy is in our own personal development. And so we often find that we find ourselves in a challenging situation, so we want to develop ourselves personally in order to be able to address those challenges more effectively. And what's great about Stoic philosophy is it doesn't stop just with the individual. So if we're trying to develop our own personal ability to deal with some challenges in our lives, Stoic philosophy actually pushes us into a more social interpretation of our individual development, which is different from other philosophies and other approaches, which are very much focused on the individual and our own experience. Stoic philosophy is by its nature a practice of society. So how do we interact with society? How do we make decisions that are not only in our best interest, but that are for the greater good and contribute to society in a positive way? So the ultimate goal of Stoic philosophy is to live a life of virtue, which obviously is very much tied to our place in society and how we contribute to it. And so from a workplace perspective, that's incredibly important, is how we interact with people, how we make decisions, how we respond to different circumstances. So it's a really useful set of practices and principles to apply in the workplace.